Microdose, yeah. Microdose. Microdose. Microdose, dose. Microdose. Microdose, dose. Microdose. Microdose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, coming to you with the newest episode of the Microdose. Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer Jaimel Hemphill is here, and we're just gonna shoot the shit for a bit here. Jaimel, what's good, man?
What's up, my man? Happy April.
Happy April.
Yeah, it's just been chilling. Got some good news for the folks, got some bummer news for the folks. The bummer is that Quantum Leap got canceled. We'll talk about that. I'm highly disappointed in NBC yet again. This is the most disappointed I've been in an NBC cancellation since Life. And Life, which was a really good show with Damian Lewis. Like, sure, we got Homeland out of that because he went on and did Homeland, but still, Life was a good show.
I'm not familiar with Life.
Oh, go back 2 seasons, really good. Basically, a police officer gets trained for a crime he didn't commit, actually does time, gets out, and then becomes a cop again while trying to just figure out who actually did the crime he was committed of.
Oh,
yeah,
that's unusual.
Yeah, it's like if I remember correctly, he's exonerated, but he's already done time by the time he's exonerated. And then comes back out, they give him his job back, but now he's ex-con whose life has been changed by being stuck in the police system or the penal system, which has also changed his outlook on sending people away, right? And now he's a cop, and he's also trying to figure out who actually committed the murder that he did. Really, really good. Truncated series. I still own the first 2 seasons on DVD because they were that good. It's just really good television.
Okay.
But yeah. So if you want to come by, we can watch it.
I will take that invite.
We just hang out and watch it. But it was really good. I love Damian. It's where I first started liking Damian Lewis. Right? Like I didn't know if I wanted to watch Homeland or any of that, but he became like one of those actors where like, oh, he's in the show or he's in a movie. I'll give it a watch. Okay. I'll give it a chance, especially if he's a lead. And so Life was that show that did that for me for Damian Lewis.
All right. Yeah. Damian Lewis is not a name that I'm putting to a face at this moment, but I'm sure
redheaded dude, slim face. Yeah.
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I got excited at redheaded guy, but whatever.
If you watch Homeland, you're like, oh, that guy. Was the lead of the first couple seasons of Homeland, or first. I think he's the lead the whole series. I don't know. I never finished Homeland, but he's a good actor.
Was it a show that started on like TNT and then got transferred to NBC? Like Regina King is in it?
No, that's Southland, which is also really good.
Oh,
yeah, which is actually really, really good. Yeah,
Southland was good. I enjoyed Southland.
Yeah, Southland was really good. But Homeland is the one where this guy, it's a bit of a the first twist is that he's a dude who gets captured in fighting in the Middle East, and he comes back home. But by the time he comes back home, he's also converted to Islam, and he may or may not be. He may have just converted as a religious awakening, or he may have converted because he is now a sympathizer with the
Stockholm
with the opposition. So it's
okay.
2 good shows that he's on.
I remember that Showtime had a series where we were talking about domestic terrorism.
Yeah, I think that was it. Was it on Showtime or was he?
This is a different series entirely. The guy who played the original Mummy. Or he was the antagonist for the original Mummy. That wasn't Brendan Fraser.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was a terrorist. He knew he was a terrorist, but in his mind, he's doing the greater good. So like they get to this point where like we're gonna do this big shit in Las Vegas tomorrow, and then this one night where they get to purge.
Yeah,
and all of his homies like have hookers come over, and they're like, "What is he a fat?" Because the other one is like, "Look, I'm a married man. I love my wife. I'm just gonna eat these prunes here and these dates, and this is my purge right here before we go into big shit." And then like everything went down, and you're like, "Oh fuck!" Like, anyways, Homeland, I'm not familiar with. But
I want to say it's Showtime. Maybe it was Showtime.
Okay.
Which is why I didn't finish it, because I've never been a Showtime purchaser. and I
Mhm.
think I watched it while I was on vacation or something, and got through 2 seasons in a week that I was on vacation in an Airbnb. But yeah, might be worth it now that you can get Showtime stuff on the Paramount streamer. So
Mhm.
if I can be convinced to keep it once Star Trek is over, then yeah, I'll probably finish it out now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, I'm definitely happy to report to you that Star Trek is far from over. Like maybe some of your series like Discovery
Right.
are ending, but
Yeah.
dude, they've only got extra plans for Star Trek. So there
Yeah.
is a Star Trek movie coming out that was just announced at CinemaCon. I'm
And it's like
still unclear
I'm
what it's about. It sounds like it's
if
still
it's
the
if it's
original
set
Enterprise, but
yeah, if it's my problem, I'm actually having some problems with Star Trek right now.
oh,
They
okay.
re,
Oh, fascinating.
and you know that's a big thing for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me to say I'm having problems with Star Trek.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't enjoy, they refuse to go forward. I'm
So
frustrated.
the fact that Discovery went into like the year 3000,
3000.
we're not
I
going
was
forward.
well, then they're ending it, right? And we're being
Well,
left
sure,
with,
sure, sure, sure.
and then they're also they're ending Lower Decks after next season, which is set
Mhm.
after the D Space Nine stuff and everything. And so now we're left with Strange New Worlds, which once again is steadily
The
catching up
past.
to us getting Kirk again. And it's like it we know what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I
Corporations
hear
don't
you.
want to pay people to create new things. So they keep rehashing stuff that they already have stolen from the previous creators, right? So,
Right.
Gene,
Nostalgia.
yeah,
Nothing wrong.
like some of it's nostalgia, but my honest belief is that they don't want to pay people. Like creators are getting more and more control, and that's why you see, we could go off on AI, but I mean, it's pretty obvious. Everybody knows what I think of that as someone who actually draws things and writes things. So, um, what it is they don't want to pay people to create,
Hmm.
right? Like the rules used to be, if you're working for me and you make something, it's mine. That's really no longer the
Right.
case, right? And so you've got these corporations, which are entities incapable of creating things, right? And so they're trying to monetize what they already have stolen from a creator or own from a creator. They don't want to pay people to make new things. So, just for even for those people who use woke as a pejorative and
Hmm.
who don't know what the word woke actually means,
Yeah.
you're not
Right.
like, just so you're mad that Spider-Man is black now. That's not because they want to be quote unquote woke. It's because they don't want to pay someone to make a new black character. So they take the character but they also recognize that black people have money to spend. So we're going to make a black version of what we already own so that black people hopefully will spend money on it. That's what's going on. We will make an Asian version of something we already own so that Asian people will spend money on it. That's what's going on.
So
Like they could make black new
interesting reverse
characters.
racism.
Yeah, they could make black characters. They totally could, but they would have to pay people to do that. They would have to pay creators to do that. And that unfortunately is not something that a corporation is willing to do. Their job is to steal as much and gather as much profit as they can. That's the job of a corporation. It's the only reason for its existence is to make money, and you can't make money while paying people, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
every cent you give to a
Paying
person
the
who works
bills
for
is a
you is,
cost.
yeah, is a cost, is less profit. Hence, we will now try to use AI to create everything so that, but to be honest, if AI is actually an artificial intelligence and then it creates something from you, there's a whole nother ethical question of, if this thing is sentient and it's creating for you and you're forcing it to make stuff for you for free. We already had that, with regular people, and it didn't turn out so well. So we all agreed that that was bad.
So I understand. I get the dangers of AI. And on the Waffle Box, we dance the line with AI. We have the producer Lathan,
Mhm.
who we read a very interesting story. I honestly forget what it was, but the character's name in that was Lathan.
Uh-huh.
Not to be confused with Nathan, Lathan. So we're like, yeah, that should be our producer's name. And then my guy Mike Fish came up with a character named Lathan,
Uh-huh.
who is our producer. He doesn't do anything, but he is artificially intelligent.
Mhm.
And by the way, everything he says, sorry, all the smoke and mirrors, kids. Everything he says is because of Mike Fish. So I have to say something specific to trigger him to say something.
Right.
And Mike doesn't give me any clues what that's going to be. I literally have to just go, Lathan, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And then he says his thing, and it's usually pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
However, how are you, Jaimel Hemphill, specifically able to identify AI? Because there's very few times where I'm like, oh yeah, that wasn't a real person.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with my eyes going like, oh, was that CGI? I don't know.
Yeah.
Holler at me.
It's honestly, it's I don't know how else to explain it, but anything created by AI lacks soul.
Okay.
And like it's like an uncanny valley thing. And like
Oh,
they actually
okay.
they actually
Okay.
did a they actually did a there was a study that just came out. And I'm sorry, folks, we'll give you 5 seconds to go Google it for 3, 2, 1, because I can't remember exactly where it was, but they worked with some kids,
Okay.
right? And they had the kids, they had some I think reports on maybe like the Grand Canyon or something. They had to do some reports, like historical reports, and they had half of them written by AI and half of them written by real other kids. And the kids were intrinsically able to, like, I think it was maybe a media literacy class for which is something that
Mm-hmm.
really all like grade schoolers need nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids were able to read, and they were able to immediately pick up which one was written by AI and which one was written by a human, because AI lacks soul, for lack of a better way.
Sure.
There's an uncanny valley, and no matter what you do, there's always going to be, I mean, deep fakes aside, there's always going to be an uncanny valley. Um, because one thing me and my friends were talking about, my creative friends, we think when you say AI, I think it's the wrong anagram to say artificial intelligence, because it's not technically an artificial intelligence. It's AI should probably stand for algorithmic iteration, because what it does is you feed all this information into an algorithm, and it iterates on what you already gave it. It doesn't create anything new, right? It's
Right.
just
Right.
it's iterating on everything you fed it, and like that leads into the problem. Especially with dealing with art. Problem is that we have a comparison for this. You are setting OpenAI, what they're doing with their Mid Journey and all that is they are scraping images off the internet, whether they're owned by other people or owned by artists or whatever, and they are feeding that to an algorithm, which then crunches it, turns it into bits and bytes, and iterates based on everything it's taught. So we already have a comparison to this. They're not clearing their samples. Okay, if you just took Stevie Wonder's album and you just reinterpreted it and made new beats out of it, you owe Stevie Wonder money for using
Yes.
for sampling his thing. So what you have is we already have a comparison for this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're stealing art. You're sampling stuff and not paying the original creators. There's the issue. If you want to say, this is the thing, and then you're calling it saying, no, we created a living, thinking thing that we taught how to draw with your stuff. No, you didn't. You fed all of our art to an algorithm. I'm in there. I didn't give my permission for my art, my little drawings, the few that I have on the internet, to be in there. They scraped the art off my website, off all websites, and they fed it in there. And now the thing is sampling and reiterating and manipulating the line. It's just a fancy algorithm. It's a fancy sampling algorithm. And OpenAI is not clearing their samples, because if they had to, well, not only would there be nothing left, but they'd probably be broke, right? The company would go under, because they've scraped the entire internet. So that's like stop. Like I think what it is. I listened to I'm not trying to. Well, it's not competition. There's enough podcasts for everybody, but there's another podcast that does a interesting thing on AI called Behind the Bastards. It's a good podcast, and they did a great episode on AI, and also Steve Jobs, who I thought really wasn't, maybe not a great guy, but turns out he's actually a really horrible person. I did not know how horrible he was.
Yeah.
But they were talking about how AI, like, it's they made a great point, as like Steve Jobs, as horrible as he was, did start a revolution in terms of, making tech that people can't adjust, right? He made a walled garden. You can't upgrade your own stuff, but also in that he created the next big thing. in that he had a dream, and he had the dream for the iPad or the iPhone back in the Apple IIe days. He just technology hadn't caught up with his idea. So he knew what he was working towards for like 40 years. He knew that he may have not known what the design was going to look like because he wasn't a designer. He may not know what the coding would have looked like because he wasn't an engineer, but he knew the form factor of what he wanted was going to be this little screen that everybody carried in their pocket. He knew that like in 1980, right? And finally got it in 2005. But now tech as a whole doesn't know what the next big thing is, right? Like there's nothing like we've reached
We've done
as far as
everything.
as far as what the average person needs. We're there.
Mm-hmm.
We're there. I mean, we could refine it. We can say, hey, here's your phone can last longer. Your phone, it can hold more information. It can hold more info. It can do more things. We can come up with different pieces of software or different peripherals that allow it to do things that are healthier for you and help you more in life and whatnot. We can connect it via Bluetooth to other things and help you control other things. But we've reached the pinnacle of what a handheld device can do. And now, because we're living in corporationville and they need constant growth. No one's satisfied just to be profitable anymore. Everyone needs to grow, grow, grow. They're trying to figure out what the next thing is. And they've just decided that AI is the next thing. But I mean, we don't necessarily need it. We need machines that are smart enough to make decisions to take tasks away from us, menial tasks, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, there's a couple coal mines left. We don't need to send people in there. Let's send the AI to mine the coal, right? There's some heavy machinery that people might accidentally cut their fingers off or get their arms smashed. They're using it when they're putting together cars or something.
Or we get stuck a mile underground.
Exactly. Like let the AI take care of that, like that's the kind of stuff. But instead, they're trying to cut out the middleman of like, yeah, we killed taxi drivers, but we still got people driving cars. Let's make it so that people can't drive cars anymore. Oh man. Yeah, we've got all these cool movies, but we're making comic books, but and we're getting all these movies from the comic books, but you know what? People have to make the comic books and they don't want to work for a corporation anymore. Let's make it so people can't make comic books anymore. Like that's that instead of AI freeing us from menial tasks to create, they want AI to take over creation so people can just be stuck with menial tasks. And what's funny is just a warning, Apple and Microsoft and Costco Google. And all, not Costco, but Google and Walmart. Mm-hmm. If you make it so that all our jobs are taken away by AI, we're not going to have any money to buy your stuff.
There you go.
Like just thought there.
We just upped the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20+ an hour. Yeah. And guess what? I've been in enough fast food restaurants. My body can't handle it anymore. However, I've seen the time change. Yeah, I've seen the time change, and I saw a woman cuss out a Filipino worker at McDonald's like she was at a 5-star restaurant. I was like, "Bitch, you just get napkins over there."
Yeah,
like this woman doesn't even speak your language. She just wants a job. She's selling hamburgers. It's what it is. Like you're in McDonald's, and McDonald's shouldn't have any fucking customer complaints more than usual. But also, this woman was actually being way out of line. However, as I'm saying that, like once the new policy sets in and everybody's making $20 an hour, McDonald's is like, well, now we're going to replace all those Filipinos with robots. Yeah, everything's going to be automated. There'll be one person there to make sure everything is all the materials are in place. But no.
I think it'll become like the automated checkouts at Safeway and Lucky's and all that. Sure. People are starting to steal and everything, and honestly, I don't blame them. Right? Like if you want me to check out my own groceries and I miss one, that's your fault for not hiring a professional. Mm-hmm. Like there is no such thing as unskilled labor. That's a lie. Yeah, right. Everyone has to learn skills to do things. Mm-hmm. All right. Otherwise, you'd be working there. And I also feel the need every time someone complains about minimum wage being $20. First off, when minimum wage was created, it was designed that that's the wage you needed to have a life,
Yes.
right? Like for our parents, minimum wage meant you had enough to be able to afford a place to live and afford food and all that kind of stuff. It was the minimum wage needed. And if minimum wage had kept up with inflation, right, the minimum wage would be around $22 right now. Like, because the cost of everything kept going up, but our minimum wage never did. I think the last
No.
time it raised up was like 2000 or something, and it went to what, 750 or something like that, So minimum wage should be around $22 right now, and
Well,
and
this
like,
is. I don't mean to cut you off.
no, not at all.
This isn't the minimum wage. Period. This
Right,
is
it's
just
just
the
for fast
minimum
food
wage
workers,
for fast food.
Yeah, I think like it should have went up all the way across the board, right? Like it should have
Mm-hmm.
went up all the way across the board because California is super expensive. A minimum wage is like
Fuck.
what I think is it $20 now in San Francisco? I know in
Jesus, I
Oakland
don't know.
I know in
Uh,
Oakland it's 15, right? Like certain
wow.
cities they've already accepted like, hey, it's expensive to live in the Bay Area. It's expensive to live here, so the minimum wage has to be up here. Like it should have just went
Mhm.
across the board, $20. We're the richest state in the union, right? Just pay people what they're owed, you know, and like it's so funny that people would rather than make things better for themselves, they want to make it worse for someone else. Like, don't get
Yes.
mad that fast food workers are making $20. Just realize that if you are white collar and you're doing a job that you consider harder than maybe fast food workers, perhaps you should unionize and ask for a commensurate raise to the fast food worker,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't try to keep them at $10 an hour. They shouldn't have to go without and be darn near homeless because you're not getting paid well. No, you should both be getting paid well. Stop
Mm-hmm.
trying to cut someone else's feet off and then but try to climb the ladder yourself. And then when you get up there, don't forget the people that are behind you. Pull them up behind you. It's a lot easier and you feel a lot better at the end of the day if you're making sure that people behind you are doing better rather than trying to cut the person next to you off at the feet, because I'm telling you right now, the money's going somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
One of the
Every
only friends I actually had on the job site in live event production
Mhm.
brought this to my attention. Like, did you know fast food workers are going to get a $20 raise? Like,
Yeah.
and at first I was like, well, that's weird. But also, again, I literally just gave you an example where some
Yeah.
woman just like thought she was in a five-star restaurant and just started
Yeah.
harassing this Asian woman for no reason. Um, he was still upset by it, but I was like, look, man, those folks, we
They
do a
work
lot of
hard.
labor. We do a lot of
Yeah.
manual labor. We do a lot of heavy lifting, but I swear to God, those folks work harder than us.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I have a lot of downtime in my day.
Yeah.
Last night was not an example. However, I have a lot of downtime in my day when everything goes right.
Yeah.
And at McDonald's, at Burger King, Wendy's, whatever, nothing goes right. And they have to fucking just like scramble on their feet. And yeah, I'm good with them making $20 an hour because
Yeah.
I sincerely believe they work harder than I do. And
Yeah.
I work hard. My back
I
is
think
sore right now from last night's Pelican game.
there's nothing worse than I've never worked food service, but I've had friends who have
Mm,
been wait staff. I've had
lucky.
friends who've worked at Taco Bell and all that. The closest I got was retail, right? But
So
there's got to be
hard.
nothing worse than sitting in a hot, busy environment
Yes.
where everyone you deal with is hungry.
Yes.
Like there's got to be nothing worse than dealing with a person who's hungry because you make the nicest person hungry, they might snap, right?
Yes.
There's nothing worse than someone who's hungry because we're all people, we're all human, we're all created the same way, and like there's nothing worse when someone's hangry, right? Like and they
And
may
by the
not
way,
they could
you've been there for 7 hours already.
exactly, and then one person just snaps because their food didn't come out the right way, or they're allergic, or they're not getting it fast enough, or it like there's always a problem,
Yes.
and so the least they can do is be paid a wage that allows them for them not to go hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the people who spend their entire day feeding you should not be hungry at home. Like I think that's fair to say.
I think that's fair to say as well, dude.
you know,
Again,
like
look again, like I work 10, 12, 15, 18 hours a day. And
Yeah.
but I don't work 5 Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
There's no 9 to 5 for me. So my wage is based on that.
Yeah.
However, the folks at McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, etc., 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 even if they're only doing 8 hours a day, and some of them are probably doing 4 hours a day, they deal with so much bullshit
Yeah. On their feet. Hot
on
there
their
in the
feet,
kitchen.
in the
You know?
heat,
Yeah.
in a language they probably don't understand because
Yeah.
it is what it is. But like,
Yeah.
oh my god, and they're also just feeding us food that's not good for us. But that's
Yeah.
on you. That
Yeah.
part is on you, people's.
And just to reiterate, if you have a business and you can't pay people a living wage, that doesn't mean the wage is too high. It means you don't have a working business model.
Every goddamn restaurant.
Yeah. If you can't
Every
pay people a living wage,
goddamn restaurant.
you do not have a working business model. That
So-
is what that is. That is not, oh, you got to pay people too much, or no, it means that you should probably go to a place where you can pay people a lower wage to survive. Like, don't open if you can't pay somebody like freaking Mark Wahlberg. Okay, Mr. Millionaire,
Wahlburgers.
got away with nearly murdering an Asian man and opening up a burger stand guy. Like, if you're worried that your Wahlburgers can't pay people a living wage in California, maybe you should stick to Boston, right? Go where you can pay somebody lower, because it's obvious that maybe your burger place isn't popular enough to be in California then. Because I tell you what,
does he
you know
have
who?
a spot in California?
Yeah, he was complaining about the thing. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, we're going to cut back hours." You know who hasn't had to cut back hours? You know who only raised things by like 5%? In-N-Out. In-N-Out has been paying people $15, $16, $17 an hour since like 2005. They have been paying people way above minimum wage. That's why they're so fast. That's why they're so happy. That's why you never have a bad experience at In-N-Out.
Unless you're in the drive-through.
You gotta wait. You gotta
wait 40 minutes in the drive-through.
You gotta, yeah. Well,
most folks don't understand that. You just park, go into the shop.
You go inside. You're gonna be in. You're gonna be in and out. But if you're in the drive-through, yeah. But you know what they started doing? I'll give them props. Specifically, Daly City. Daly City started putting someone outside, like on the corner.
That's not a new thing.
Is it not? It's no. Like, I mean,
that's a regular thing for In-N-Out.
Yeah, but I got through in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Like the line was so long that if you're at Daly City, you come over that overpass. I was pretty much parked at the overpass, right? Like, I think there was at least 40 cars in front of me.
Yes. No, I know what spot you're at right now. Right now.
So
you're telling me.
it took like maybe 10 minutes to get to where I ordered. But once she took my order, no more than 10 minutes was I driving away with my food.
Okay. See, I was always afraid of that.
Yeah.
I've been in and out so many times where we're like, this is a good burger.
Yeah.
But it's wildly overrated where I don't care to fucking spend my time in that drive-through. So I will go in.
Yeah. If you go like I'm talking like Saturday night, you know how that line goes out of the parking lot and around the corner. It took a hot minute to get to where I was giving her my order, but I was ordering for my whole family. So I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like cooking when I get home. So I'm going to order for everybody. I'm going to wait. Right. And we ordered our burgers, but from the point that we ordered our burgers, that line moved. That line moved.
Okay. Cool.
It moved. And so I also just want to put this out. If you're listening outside of California, I feel the need to defend my hometown. I am wearing an Oakland shirt. I just happen to be wearing it right now. But In-N-Out is not closing in Oakland because it's a hellhole. It's closing in Oakland because a bunch of people made it a point to scare everybody about that location. And like I'm just saying, they made it a point to scare everybody about that location. And it's not like In-N-Out, the people who run In-N-Out know what that looks like. They didn't go visit it. They just heard what was going on. They're like, whoa, it's not safe. I guess we got to back out. But I just feel the need to point out there's like a police station. The largest police station in Oakland is about a quarter mile from that location. It's like right down the street. This is a location that used to have a Malibu Grand Prix where you race cars and a pizza place and a theater. And I used to be able to ride my bike to that place from my home during the middle of the crack epidemic with no problems. So you're telling me that now that there's no crack and there's a police station wasn't there when I was a kid, now it's dangerous?
No, they're still crack. I hate to break this to you. They're still crack.
There's no crack on
There's
Hagen.
still problems in San Francisco to the point
Oh
where
yeah,
it's like, oh my
but
god,
but if
I'm going
you're
outside.
the same with San Francisco. San Francisco is not a hellhole. All right.
It
You
doesn't
got
have to be, but it feels like it.
well
Honestly,
everything
as
that's
a
going
native,
on,
you're a native.
everything that's going on in it's one neighborhood, right? Like everything is
No,
closing.
they're
Everything
focusing on one neighborhood, but and this is the politics I don't want to get into, but
yeah.
but yeah, man,
Because I mean
this
you
is
go to
not the world we grew up
grew
in.
up in. No, but I mean you go to what is it? I don't know, Noe Valley or here in Hayes Valley even, or you go over to what's not Glen Park, but what's the place where you come out of the tunnel when you're on the Muni? You know that
What part of the
area.
movie? There's two
You
tunnels.
know if you're going out towards the beach and you come out of the tunnels out of
Oh,
downtown,
the end, Judah
yeah, where they all come out,
hellhole.
yeah.
I left the Sunset because of its problems. I I I will tell you this right now. We had problems with the homeless,
Mm.
and this is 2004, 2005. Like there, 46 in Judah
Uh,
had its share of homeless people, and you're like, well, whatever. I can give you change. I can't give you change. Oh, this woman is literally selling herself for prostitution. Whatever. Um, I finally moved out of the Sunset back to my mom's house because my neighbor who was going through PTSD just went like, yeah, sure, these two people that I've never seen before, who I have seen all the time, I just let them into my house, which is our entire 3-story building.
oh Lord.
And I was like, yeah, I'm now moving out now because those fuckers are in the house.
Wow.
Like, no, look, man, the shit is crazy all over the place. It's not fun. It's
It's is it worse?
disappointing.
Is there increase like for me it was the Super Bowl.
The Super
Like
Bowl did not help things because we moved
yeah.
homeless people out of place. They had to go somewhere else, so they went other places.
Oh, I'll tell you where they went.
I
They
bet
went
you
to
know
West Oakland. They were bussed over to West Oakland.
they were bust over there. Well,
Bussed over there.
that's nicer than a bus.
Because remember they used to be over by used to be a huge encampment on Van Ness, you know, here in Hayes
That
Valley, pretty close to the Tenderloin. Used to
that
be a
shit is
huge
still
encampment.
there, but I hear what you're
Well, it used to
saying.
be a lot worse. It used to be a
It's
lot
I
worse.
would say it's actually much worse now.
But what happened is from like a couple weeks before the Super Bowl, all of a sudden all the homeless people vanished,
Mm-hmm.
and then and all of a sudden there were two giant encampments in West Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
Like just two. What they did is they put them on the they put them on the bus or something, and they got them over because like Oakland never had a homeless problem like that ever. I can say that as a whole.
I've been
Like
on that BART ride, so I've
yeah,
seen the camps. I'm like,
yeah, like
fuck.
it's West Oakland was as bad as West Oakland has been cut off. It was never like that, and certainly not downtown, like where you're walking down Broadway, and some of the overpasses as you get out of downtown have like camp like that never happened. Like Oakland went from like 1,000 homeless people to 10,000 in like 3 years, and it was right after the Super Bowl. Like
Okay.
right after, like it was not. It's I'm not even exaggerating.
No,
So,
I get you. I
we
understand.
don't
Again,
we
I've been
don't
on that bus, so
yeah
I
we
understand.
don't do enough. We don't do enough to help them. But that's a whole nother podcast.
It is
A
a
whole
whole
nother
other
podcast.
podcast,
Yeah,
but
but
the
let's talk
problem has
about some.
grown exponentially. Like
Yeah,
so, all those folks are still in Oakland, but then the problem in the Tenderloin still grew.
yeah,
And after the Super Bowl, which was almost 10 years ago now,
yeah, yeah.
um, there the Tenderloin is still a problem. Once upon a time, you were like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to move," and I was like, "I'm going to be there to help you,"
Yeah.
and I'm all ready to help you there. Like again, just all homeless people, and then there's syringes in the gutter when there aren't crack vials, and I was like, "Fuck." I hope I'm getting ready to move out of this other place.
A couple minutes.
We moved only a couple blocks, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
Well, at least he owns this place now. I guess. I don't know. You can only tell me about how that's been. However, yeah, since the Super Bowl, nothing has changed. Everyone moved back. Then we had the APEC conference, and so they moved a couple of people again.
Yeah.
A lot of people. When I say a couple, a lot of people again. But it's still been a problem. And Gavin Newsom, like I don't know how this episode became so political, but it
I
did.
know. I
It
don't
did.
know.
It
I
did.
don't
So
know.
we're running with it. We're running with it.
We're just saying, like, hey, pay people what they're worth,
Pay
and
people where
then
they're worth.
and then use the taxes to help the people who need it. How about that? Can we like
Pay people
like
what they're worth and help people where they need it. And
yeah, it's not that
Jaimel, I'm
hard.
sorry, man. Unfortunately, some folks are going to be if not removed from the entire space,
Oh, yeah,
incarcerated.
like there's like well we need like one thing we did do is we passed that Prop 1, I think it was, where we're rebuilding the safety net for mental health. Like that's like
Yeah, a
in
lot
your
of
and my
metal.
life in your and my lifetime, that's what caused the homeless epidemic out here was the destruction of all the mental health facilities. That put a lot of people on the street.
So when
You know,
Ronald Reagan became in office,
yeah,
he canceled that shit.
yeah.
And
Wasn't gonna mention them. Wasn't gonna mention them. I'm just
someone
gonna
had to.
yeah,
Someone had
I
to.
wasn't gonna say it, but but yeah, that started it. So that's goes a long way. But there has to be a thing of like, hey, we have standards, and if you want to be here, what you're not gonna do is just be homeless, right? We're gonna figure out a place for you. Either you need to get some work, and we'll help you find work. You need to get a home, we'll help you find home. But if you want to live off the grid, you need to find,
So
you need to,
unfortunately, also like people want that work. People
yeah,
have to want that work, and a lot of people don't want that work. And dude, I am bragging all the time about like, oh my god, they made me do nothing. I got paid to do nothing today. They complimented me. I'm like, dude, you do the best nothing today. And I'm like, I couldn't do it without you, player. Thank you.
yeah,
like, like people want to do the most for, or people want to do the less for most. I get it. I fucking get it. Shit. This has been the most politically decisive episode we've ever done. That's okay too.
but yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll figure it out step by step. But the first thing is like, hey, what you're not gonna do is just sit on the street. We're gonna figure out a
Please
place for you.
don't.
And what you're not gonna do is sit here, and whether it's opioid addiction, whether it's drug addiction, we figure out what the psychological root of that is and help you heal that. If it's a lot of people are just priced out, there are a lot of
Yeah.
families on the street, so we figure out how to give them assistance and get them back in. Like, but we've what we don't have is the will. We have the money. We have the capability. I mean, we could eminent domain all these empty condos all over San Francisco and just give people a place to stay for 6 months.
Ooh.
So I mean,
I see all these buildings going up. And I was like,
yeah,
who can
and they're
afford
empty.
that?
They're empty.
Who can
A lot of them
afford
are
that?
empty. They're empty. Just eminent. Vote for me for governor. Here's my rule: if you have a edifice, a home that sits fallow for 6 months, then it becomes transitional housing for 6 months.
So the current property I'm sitting on right now, as we speak,
Mm.
we've been here since 1983. We've been in the neighborhood since 1980. Obviously, after college or in college, I would go on my own. I would try to find my own spot. I had roommates, blah, 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 blah. But then I would have to come back because of family stuff.
Yeah.
We have rent control. The people literally across the hall from us, they have the same layout, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's the same layout, no matter how much furniture you pack in it. They are paying 3 times as much as we are. And I'm putting that up into $6,000 to $7,000 a month. My guy, he's got so many children. I don't want to put it on blast, but dude, I don't know when this guy sleeps. Like, we got the Ring camera now, so I'm just like, oh my god, this guy
Yeah.
leaves the house all the time. Holy shit! Like he might have 3 hours of sleep a day.
Wow.
Hard,
That's
hard,
hard, hard, hard.
hard pars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yep.
look, man, we've talked about the we've talked about San Francisco enough. Let's get into some other stuff here. So we're both sad that Quantum Leap has expired. Again, the last episode I saw, dude was stuck in San Francisco during the 1989 earthquake, and I was a little
Yeah.
triggered.
Yeah.
Have you seen that episode yet? It's
Saw it.
been 5 months.
Saw it. Was triggering. A little triggering. Shook up. No pun intended. A core memory for me.
Thank you.
Because I will never forget where I was during that 1989 earthquake, because every kid was watching TV or trying to listen to the radio or something, because our two baseball teams were playing in the World Series. But it ended with a thing that has never happened in Quantum Leap before. We had two leapers at the same time. The two leads were reunited, both leaping through time. And it was going to be interesting and awesome. And then they canceled it, and I'm so disappointed because we had so much different. And they basically set it up for Scott Bakula to come back.
Oh,
Like
really?
it's completely
So I
set
haven't
up
seen
for Scott.
anything since then.
Yeah, they completely set it up for Scott Bakula. I'm not saying that Scott Bakula would have come back in the second episode, the next season or whatever,
Mhm.
but the easiest answer to the conundrum that they set up in the season was that the two people would be leaping and Scott Bakula would be back with the home team.
Wow.
That is the easiest solution to what they set up.
They
That
set
that
up that we
that's
couldn't
that
get it
like
done.
these two, that the two leads would now be leaping for at least one episode. The two leads would be on a leap together
Mhm.
and able to see each other and touch each other, and their hologram would be Scott Bakula. That is the
Fucking
easiest
hell.
that is the easiest answer for what they set up with the season finale. And I was completely excited. Um, and I guarantee you that if Dean Stockwell were still alive, it would have been him, right? One of those two characters would have been the person as the hologram for the start of this episode. So
Interesting.
it would be good.
WrestleMania 40. Did you get to watch any of that?
Oh yeah, I actually really enjoyed WrestleMania. I am, I have not exactly been the most religious in terms of watching wrestling the past like 2-3 years, really.
Yeah.
Um,
I get it. I get it.
but it was very entertaining.
Good.
Really, like, storytelling was really good. I really enjoyed it, and it really does. They kept on saying new era this, new era that. I really didn't believe it until I heard the words professional wrestling. I think you saw me post something similar to that on social media.
Mhm.
But until I heard the words professional wrestling, I didn't believe it. But they really used those words, which, for those of you not in the know, were verboten as long as Vince McMahon was in charge of the WWE.
Yes.
He did not like the term professional wrestling. He liked the term sports entertainment. The biggest reason for that was that professional wrestling falls under the purview of the Boxing Commission and has to follow the rules of boxing, whereas sports entertainment, you're allowed to call people independent contractors and get away with a lot of business stuff that you aren't able to do if they're athletes. So the fact that the WWE has gone back to using the term professional wrestling and started, honestly, in terms of the storytelling and actually the in-ring product, um, treating it as such, really was refreshing.
Nice. I still think, regardless of what I know, because I haven't heard anything and I've been out of the loop for quite a while. I think a contract is a contract, and in whatever demographic you agree to it, you agree to. So when someone comes in and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna do sports entertainment." Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. And if they're gonna do pro wrestling, that's what they should do. But uh, do you have anything to clarify on this? Where like, yeah, Triple H is now in charge. I don't know what to think about that. I think he's with the fans on this one. Where like, yeah, we shouldn't call it sports entertainment anymore. We should call it pro wrestling again. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Triple H, I think it just brings a different sensibility with him
Mhm.
kind of being, I think what they call him the chief creative officer. So I'm assuming for the WWE that means I never was up on the hierarchy, how everything
Sure,
works,
sure,
because
sure. Same.
even as a wrestler, the couple of weeks I was there, Vince McMahon is essentially the head booker. You got writers, but I didn't understand what they did. Everything I dealt with in terms of ring was dealt with what's called an agent, who was a
Hmm.
guy who was like a match producer who told you what to do and how to move and everything. But I just assumed they got their marching orders from Vince. Um, but it seems like Triple H is the head booker, and I think that with him as the head booker, that brings a different sensibility to the product because you have a person who's been a wrestler managing the product. And Vince McMahon was a visionary.
Hmm.
All right, he's an excellent showman. He's an incredible marketing person. But one thing he never was a wrestler. Right?
Mm,
I think he wrestled a little bit in high school and whatnot. But what I'm saying is his job on the professional ranks was never been a professional wrestler. I'm not
okay.
sure.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure his view of the art form of professional wrestling is the same as someone who did it for a living. I just don't. And as you can love the product, you can love the business, which is obvious. This is his life. This guy did this even in spite of his father not wanting him to do it, right? His father didn't want to sell him the business.
Hmm.
He was betting on Vince not being able to let the business last, right? Vince had to come up with $1 million on his own to buy this business from his dad, and he managed to do it. Um, and so it's weird. He always had this love hate relationship because it seems like he loved wrestling more than anything, but he also wanted he to be known throughout his entire life as something other than a wrestling promoter. It's really weird to me because he tried everything other than wrestling. But
So a lot of pro wrestling is chokeholds and tie-ups and etc. 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 However, WrestleMania 19, Vince McMahon wrestled Hulk Hogan and stabbed him in the face with a pen.
yeah,
A lot, not a little bit, a lot.
yeah.
Um, what is your opinion on that?
Like I said, I think he was all about that sports entertainment,
Okay.
and like he was about making it a show. And I still think like the idea of sports entertainment is him getting away from the regulations that existed. If you're right, for a long time, wrestling, even though it was predetermined, still fell under the preview of the boxing commission.
Sure, sure, sure.
Just like MMA, there's no MMA commission. But if you have a fight in Vegas, it still falls under the boxing commission to sanction it. So,
Okay.
um, I think pro wrestling is maybe pro wrestling will go back to that because I think it's better protections for the performers if they do fall under those strictures because now you're going to have certain medical things that you're going to have to go through. I think in the long run, it'd be better for the performers. But nevertheless, I just think Triple H being in charge, it brings a different sensibility. It brings a different love for the craft um, than someone booking as a wrestler more so than a lover of the game. For lack of a better word, this is not meant to disparage anyone or anything, but there's difference between booking as a wrestler and booking as a fan, right? And
Right. No,
and
I get it.
at the end of the day, if you're not a wrestler, and you love the business, I'm not taking away from that. I'm not saying being a fan is a bad thing. I'm just saying we have to understand that if you don't do it, you're a fan of it,
Right.
right? Like that's just all there is. There's either you do it or you don't do it. And if you don't do it but you love it, that makes you a fan of it. And booking and running something as a fan is very, very different than booking or running something as a professional with experience. And to be perfectly frank, we're seeing that right now in Tony Khan versus Triple H, right? Tony Khan
Mhm.
books as a fan, and he loves this business. He's provided a great alternative to WWE, but that's what it is, a huge alternative, because what he's doing is very, very different than what Triple H seems to be doing. That's just one man's opinion, but that's what it looks like to me.
I am seeing a lot of stuff on the internet, and it's the internet, so take it where it is. But Tony Khan, within the last 3 months, has gone from an internet darling to a pariah.
Seems like it. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get into that another time. Otherwise, I think we've done everything we can do here tonight.
All right. Yeah.
I'm trying to work through my slurs. Anyways, Jaimel, you got anything you wanted to plug tonight?
Man, dude, one, great to see you. Great to be on the thing with you.
How's your feeling,
I hope
man? Thank you.
I hope the middle of the podcast doesn't turn anyone off, but
Not at all. No,
maybe,
that was a
but
good time.
hey, let this be a lesson. Two friends disagreed on something and they're still friends. Look at that. Nothing happened. We had two different views on some stuff and nothing happened. We're still best friends, even at the end of the
Oh, yeah.
podcast. Whoa. Anyway.
I don't even know that we disagreed on anything, but
No, I mean,
still, yes.
different viewpoints. I'll put it that way. I don't think we even really disagreed. But look at that. We had more in common than even what we disagreed. See, there's always something to find in common. There always is. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are having the same conversations we have to a more extreme extent. And I'm just trying to point out that you can always come back to your commonalities.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, hey, you know what? I'm still trying to do comic books. So please keep an eye out on npccomics.com. Scrap, we had one successful Kickstarter last year and then one unsuccessful Kickstarter last year. So we're still coming back. Like we had an unsuccessful Kickstarter after two successful ones. That doesn't mean we stopped. It just slowed everything down. So we're still making comics. We might have some fantastic announcements when it comes to where you can find us pretty soon. So please keep an eye out. If you love to read stuff, I promise you that we are making something you like to read. Every comics are for everyone, but not every comic is for everyone. But I think we might have one for you. So, yeah.
That's what's up. So, as far as I go, you know what I do. We do a little thing around here called the Waffle Box. It's the original Waffle Box. You expect no substitutions. It's the best part of Wednesdays. And you love what we do. We do this because we love you. So, anyways, for Jaimel Hemphill,
Hey.
I've been Kush Hayes. We love you. You love us. There you go. Hugs and kisses. Blah, blah, blah.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the BosNet family.
But anything created by AI lacks soul.